What's up, you waterlogged maniacs? Welcome back to the Try Swim Coach podcast. And if this is your first time listening, congrats! You just made the best decision of your triathlon career, or maybe the worst. We'll see. Here's the deal. Most of you are out there flailing through the water like drunk octopus or octopi, wondering why swim splits look like a bad joke. But don't worry, I'm here to save you from looking like an absolute mess in the water. I'm your host, Coach Dominic Latella, and it is my job to make your swim faster, waste less energy, and maybe, just maybe, not hate the swim leg. Big goals, I know. First up, Austin, Texas, April 4th through the 6th, you, me, and a bunch of other poor souls figuring out how to swim like actual athletes. Hands-on coaching, video analysis, open water skills, so you're not just out there flopping around like a fish having, an existential crisis. Limited spots, so don't be that guy who waits till the last second. Sign up now. Or come see me and the Try Swim Coach crew in person at Swimbox. We'll fix your stroke, fine-tune your technique, and make sure you stop burning all your energy before you even hit the bike. Seriously, stop swimming like you're fighting the water. We can help. Do yourself a favor and go follow us on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, or just go to tryswimcoach.com before you forget. All right. Enough of my yapping, goggles on, swim caps tight. Let's do this. I am not running on all cylinders. See?
Yep.
I think ever since we got back from the Bahamas, I don't feel
Which was it's like a week ago.
A week ago, I have not got my footing back. I'm like timing of things and just super tired.
I'm old. I feel old. That's the best way I can describe it. Like it's like, oh, this is my new normal. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like, okay, I haven't done anything really. I guess life is just catching up. It feels like old. I don't know.
Yeah, it feels weird compared to previous years where it's like, for whatever reason, after we got back, time has been going by really quickly, and it doesn't even feel like it's been a week. It's been like 2 days.
Well, it's because I messed up. Like we came home, we had one of our days off, like our weekly days off.
Right.
Thursday's one of our normal days off, and we got in last Wednesday evening. So it's like, oh, easy. We'll just do that and then go back to work on Friday. That was the kicker for me. I should not have done that.
I think it was Monday for me, by the way.
Oh, yeah. We don't normally work on Mondays. And we went, let's work on Monday. I just love to work. It's so much fun.
I think that was the one that kind of did me in. But now at least Bahamas camp is done. So I'm finishing up planning the Austin camp. April 4th through the 6th.
Whoop, whoop.
Travis Lake. The Cove B&B.
Austin, Texas.
Should be fun.
Austin.
Hammering down the details, finishing up the details. But I'm still also having to finish the catching course yet. So just things are just compounding now, and it's like, I should finish the catching course this coming week, and I should be able to get everything out for Austin soon enough, and get to do this all over again after I go to Austin, Texas.
Yay!
Get to feel wrecked. But Austin's only 3 days.
No,
4
then
days,
we get to learn and make better decisions moving forward.
Give yourself 2 days off.
Yeah.
That one's different too because he's doing that one alone. I will not be there to support him.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a challenge.
Whole new shebang.
And then I'll do my best to articulate this for people listening, but I owe Ryan an apology, maybe, or at least an explanation. Was it Friday or Monday? Monday, you asked me to show your swimmer how to use the static paddle.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a paddle with a strap on it that does not give in any way.
It was Monday.
And we just tie it to the front of the pool, and it does help.
So you mean static in terms of like a static stretch?
Yeah, like the strap itself doesn't give like a band would give.
There's no tension.
So it's not true to swimming necessarily, how swimming would work and feel. Mm-hmm. But what it does do is forces people to use muscles, especially children who don't know where muscles are or how to even use a muscle. And so I kind of just went into it like, oh yeah, do that. Not really like after like the day after, maybe like an hour after, I was like, oh, we should have done it like this. And what I did was the next day at my Tuesday morning clients, I did it with 3 of them.
So what exactly
Right.
did you do?
So what we did,
back up the trolley a second.
there's this that we took the paddle, and instead of having someone start with their arm out in front
hand
of them,
paddle?
it's a paddle with a strap attached to it.
But the paddle's on your hand.
Yep.
Okay.
Right? Instead of starting with arms forward, going into a catch position, then shrugging the shoulder blade down, and then pressing back, I started in reverse with the arm back so that they had to hold the weight from the resistance of the current in their core and in their upper back. And then we slowly brought their arm forward in a reverse catching motion.
Ooh.
So then there was a lot of thought involved and control involved, but then they had to make the motion in the correct direction.
So go back and forth, basically.
Yeah, and it was so much more beneficial than the crash course that we did.
I did it a couple times later because I was just trying to get, because I filmed probably like 3 kids since then. And yeah, like the first kid, yeah, he was just like, what am I doing? The other kid didn't know what he was doing. The third kid, she was like, oh, I get it. And I'm like,
Well, of course it was a girl, right?
Duh.
Girls always get it faster. Always.
she just is a bit more, I feel like it's a little bit more talented, maybe. She figured out a lot of stuff already, like kind of around watching her.
Gotta talk toward the mic.
Sorry. Yes, she's just a bit more talented. I feel like she's already kind of figured out some stuff, and like it was kind of reinforcing. I feel like to her, she kind of already understood, like, oh yeah, this rotates me.
And, you know, that concept, you know, no one saw that, by the way. So
No, to say, as
this
someone who
rotates me,
knows
doesn't
exactly what the two of you are talking about.
right?
This is not articulative.
Right.
So I'm assuming that
you
the
took it.
movement that you're trying to talk about accomplishing from the jump here is a catch and a push underwater in your propulsive phase.
Yes.
Okay. And you were trying to articulate to the swimmer that your arm does not just fling through the water, it requires work to push the water and move forward. Correct?
Pretty much. And that the static paddle represents what it really means to make an anchor point.
Yeah.
And you have to travel past that paddle. And if
Right.
someone doesn't understand that concept, they try to lift the paddle up out of the water. It's kind of interesting to watch.
They end up using like their shoulder more rather than their shoulder blade
And
area.
their shoulder joint.
Yeah.
Like their AC joint.
Yep.
Yeah, and they end up like you just look at it, you're like, ugh, and it's pretty easy to see. You're like, okay, that looked better. I should have felt that, right?
Right. So, yes, thank you for
So doing the
Weighing this
movement in reverse, you're making them feel the work in that movement that they normally are like not thinking has work. I was good, and then
You
I
had
wrote
it.
it.
We had it. And also, by the way, we're going to change subjects. Apology to people listening for the last recording. We did it, I would say, dirty style. We just recorded in the Bahamas on my laptop.
I'm not apologizing.
No microphones. And so I know Alyssa didn't get heard as much as she should have been.
So you're welcome for the people who think I talk too much. I know you're there.
Nobody thinks that.
I've seen your comments. Not gonna stop talking anytime soon. So
You're the only person that like explains what we're talking about. So like
I find myself necessary.
I
That's
do
good
too.
enough for me. Okay. So
I do too.
we're not actually talking about this movement though. You didn't want to talk about that?
Well, I mean, I appreciated what Ryan was doing with his swimmers
And
doing
that
this
was-
movement,
that
and
was
that
what?
like bringing a component of strength and conditioning into the pool.
There we go. Okay.
All right, does that make sense for me to say?
Yeah.
Right. It is. I kind of think of our pools as little mini gyms, right? And so like we can do so much in them beyond what you would just do in a traditional pool. So anytime that we get to add equipment that you couldn't use in a traditional pool and benefit from it, I always love that. I think it's just so much more helpful for people to wrap their minds around concepts and understand what it is to be swimming versus, you know, just flailing through the water.
The
So-
act and movements and exercises related to swimming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the things, strength and conditioning wise, I've been trying to bring into the pool is, Alyssa, you've walked in on it a couple of times,
That just sounds funny.
is the idea of mobility with, I would say, generating force. How good mobility allows it, bad mobility can prevent it, especially in swimming, right? So one of the things that we start is I've been just doing a progression of starting flat on your stomach, kicking flat on your stomach, arms forward, hands about 8 inches below the surface. Arms are both shrugging up towards your ears.
With your shoulder blade. Is that what
With
you
your
mean?
shoulder blade, yeah. And as you're shrugging up and extending your arms forward, you're pressing your ribs inward towards your spine. That is not a normal movement for people to make. Normally, when your arms go overhead, Ryan, you open your chest, right? But we don't do that in swimming. Well, we can.
We try not to.
We try not to, though.
I like to make people do that movement as like an ab curl.
Like on their
So that
back
they
or
have during their recovery, if you do like a slow like 6 to 8 count recovery,
what? Ooh,
and
nice.
so you're doing like a side plank basically,
Yeah.
right? But what I did yesterday was I made my client Matt like almost fall over, right, with his recovery. I had him bring it behind his back
Oh, Jesus.
as he opened his ribs, and then the movement to get his arm into the water was closing his ribs back down and then rotating in.
Very cool.
Uh-huh.
You just have to make sure that people know they're not supposed to do that while they're actually swimming.
Oh,
And
I
that's
only
just
I only throw those
exercise
in
drill
as
work.
like I'm gonna murder you now.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And like that was really difficult for him to do, and I only wanted to try it with him because I knew he would be strong enough. It's definitely like hypoxic, insane, like a lot of effort
yeah.
because you're doing side plank, oblique work, inner thigh work. Your lat on their lead arm is supporting all of that, and then you go, okay, while you're doing all of that work, open your ribs and have to ab curl them closed. So it's like an extra top ab while everything else is still holding.
Right.
And so it would have been really great if he'd fallen over on the first one. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
To
Why
be
would it be
like,
great?
okay, because then you get to explain all of the things that made you fall over.
Right.
Right? And like, okay, yes, great. This is going to be easier mentally to understand. I always think. Well, I make the
Yeah,
assumption.
I agree with you. When someone fails, it's their opportunity to learn versus they just kind of nail it just out of chance or dumb luck.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, well, I can explain this to them, but they're not going to really connect with it because they just did it.
And it's
They're
a
not
lot
fun.
of it's like a
They're
lot
not
of
very fun.
awareness too.
Right. So going back to my progression,
Mm-hmm.
after we do both arms, we alternate shrugging arms. And still, as you shrug an arm forward, you press your ribs in. And then we add
So
a
this
catch
is a
to the
very
shrug.
slow drill.
It's a progression, right? So we do each round, each step of the progression several times until we all feel satisfied, basically. So then once we do alternating arms, we add the catch to the arm that's shrugging forward. So you have to now catch as you press your ribs. All right. And then we do a catch-up drill, which not my favorite drill. However, there could be a time and a place. And I think this is appropriate because this is really helping people understand how to generate power and force while keeping their body, I would say, pancaked, keeping themselves as sort of narrow as possible and keeping everything sort of lined up and locked in as much as possible.
Like a pig on a spit.
All right, and so then, okay, you've set your catch, your ribs are in. Can you shrug your shoulder blade down, finish your stroke, recover, do the opposite side? Once we get to that point, then we break it apart and do a 0% catch-up drill when your arms are completely opposite of each other and do the same thing. Woo!
Oh, that's hard work.
It takes about an hour to get through. It's a lot. But it really does start to get the point across, at least so far that I've experienced, it gets the point across about how we hold ourselves, what it takes to generate force versus just allowing your body to move a ton in order to generate force. And so that's where I'm at with a bunch of my clients right now. It's just working on force production in the water versus movement patterns. Like most of my clients at this point have really clean movement patterns. They can disappear for a month or more, come back, and they still swim pretty much the same. So I feel that's usually like a good test for me to be like, okay, I can start teaching you how to generate more force now. Because once you're learning a movement pattern and you try to apply force to it, if you don't know the movement pattern very well, you revert back to your initial movement pattern.
Right. Or even if you don't understand it mentally.
Right. So that's why I have to wait to make sure that the movement pattern is what we want it to be before we can start applying force to it. Does that make sense? You guys are not saying words.
No, I know I'm thinking way too much right now. It's because like you can take exactly what you're talking about and then what I threw in as my interjection. It is the same work.
Oh yeah, it's intercostals and upper core and connecting limbs to I'm going to say thorax.
And I think it's interesting, like the way that you'll talk about generating force propulsion and things like that. I'll say that you have to create tension to push the water. And from creating that tension, you should feel this muscle engage. Did you feel that?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll use that feeling to go, that's what you need to mentally aim for when I'm not around here yelling at you.
Right. Yes, those conversations take place as well. And that's why we have to do so many rounds. It's like, did you feel your obliques in that one?
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Okay. Well, you should have. Let's feel those obliques out. If you can't feel them, why not? Maybe we got to figure out a different position for you to be in. Things like that.
I think it's so interesting. And I feel like whenever we talk about this, it just brings about a different way to think about how people seem to not either want to or have ever thought in this realm that swimming is a full body exercise. Like, it's very difficult. Can you imagine all of the things that you tell people to do? Like, okay, let's just float. Let's float correctly. Mm-hmm. So I want you to tuck your pelvis, right? I want hips and shoulders in line. I want to make sure that our, right? Like, no
your
head
hands
is
are
lifted
6
up.
to 8 inches below the surface.
Exactly. And oh man, I totally lost it. It's like
Body awareness?
Overwhelming amount of instruction if you try to think
like,
about every
yeah,
little
it's
thing.
like, how in the world could I possibly accomplish that? Because I think when you think about work mentally, like physical work, and you think, okay, put this on land, it almost seems impossible. But I think, first of all, that seems impossible because I'm assuming some people are like, you can't swim in the air. It's like, okay, I know. So obviously it's harder because of what? Gravity, right? But then you can actually, if you were to stand and quote unquote swim and try to
Swim vertically.
right, swim vertically, like I'm feeling all of that work. Like that's so difficult, right? Because I'm also creating tension in my arms to pretend that I'm pushing against something. And so everything's engaged. I can't imagine how long I could swim on land like that, right? And so it's like, no, you must be insane. I can't do that. There's also no air in there. You're crazy. That's not the same thing. It's like,
Right.
it is. I understand you don't have to.
Have to do what?
You don't have to make swimming into a very aggressive workout. You can get by.
Some people can.
Yes, I'm sorry. That's a good point.
Some people can.
Some people can get by
Mostly,
with like relying on
Nonas.
momentum.
Grand laws can
As long
get
as
by.
you can maintain your momentum, right?
Right.
Then like you can do this with a lot less, and you don't need to. And I get that.
To your point, by the way, I think I might have said this on a previous podcast recently, but this sort of off-season, winter, the beginning of 2025, there have been multiple clients that I work with that we have been celebrating them swimming slower.
Yeah.
All right. Because we have the intention to swim slower, and they're actually figuring it out.
And because it's actually
So-
really hard to swim slowly.
It takes a lot.
It's a lot of mental thing and physical thing.
Right.
I think it's way physically more difficult to swim slowly. And I love when like doing that with people for the first time who've come to you to learn or something and are now trying to like swim longer or get over some mental hurdle. It's like, you don't need to swim fast all the time. Let's do this. Oh, I know. It's difficult in a different way. You could do this forever. Let's teach you how to do that. And then we can go back, change, right? Adjust, all the things. But I feel like you have to be able to understand the movement slowly I think you need to
Oh,
be
yeah.
able to understand them physically slowly and mentally what you're doing to then actually be able to attempt to do it fast and like with force. And so I love when client trying to do this and their client is like, I need you to speed me up. Speed up the current. I go, no, you have to figure this out. Let's talk.
Momentum is great, and it is fun when you have momentum, but you got to learn how to move without momentum as well. That's the hard part.
You have to learn to swim slow to swim fast.
Slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
But it's also that slow is very difficult because you're feeling all of the work that you're doing. It's the same thing to me when you take one, let's just say a crunch.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of just doing crunch up, back down, one, you try to make the up take 5 to 8 seconds. Make the down take 5 to 8 seconds. That one crunch is now
Way harder.
like, are you kidding?
Random thought. I don't know why this just occurred to me or I thought about it. I think because I was working on backstroke yesterday with somebody. Do you guys think that it would be a legitimate way to get, we'll say, freestylers to help strengthen their core to do backstroke kick? Now, hear me out.
In specific manners.
Absolutely, in a specific way. When I was talking to my swimmer yesterday about the difficulty of backstroke, I consider backstroke to be a fairly easy stroke to learn. But
The
every
movements
stroke,
of the stroke.
yeah, every stroke has its sort of like bottleneck in learning. Freestyle is usually the breath, right? Butterfly, it's usually timing and rhythm. Breaststroke, it could be the kick and also timing and rhythm. Well, what is it for backstroke? It's always posture for backstroke, right? People have a hard time keeping the front of their bodies concave while they're floating on their back. They let the back of their bodies become concave, letting
Explain
their hips,
more.
letting their hips sort of open their chest and open their stomach
Into an arch.
into an arch versus tucking their pelvis. And
I
so
think
that's all
that-
I did with this backstroker yesterday was literally we did kick on his stomach first so we could understand it, and we did it on his back so that he could improve it. And he did get better as he went. And it just made me just think, as we were talking about doing crunches, it's like doing all these things to help build core awareness, doing Pilates work and all these other things is a simple way of doing it, making sure someone kicks correctly on their back, a way to strengthen their lower core. Because freestyle is so, I would say, upper core focused. You could put a lot of work
It's
into your
easier
upper
to
core.
put more work into the upper
Right.
core.
But obviously you
know
need it
you're
all the way
doing
through.
it. Yeah.
Right.
I think it's like picture an otter,
Yep.
right? That's what we're
So
talking
cute.
about.
That's all
Picture
I'm
an
picturing. A
otter,
very cute otter.
right? They're holding, what do otters eat?
Oysters and clams and
Right, but
mollusks.
they're- okay, anyway, so whatever he's eating, he's
They,
just
they
like
hold hands
holding
next
it,
to each other.
holding it, right?
Yep.
And he's floating on his back. Right? But he was made to do that. We were not made to do that. It takes effort. And I think what's interesting, especially talking about it from a backstroke standpoint, is that I immediately go back to how did I learn backstroke? Oh, I couldn't float on my back. How did they get me to float on my back? They told me to just keep pushing
Yeah.
my chin up and keep looking up, 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 up. Right? So like how in the world I'm gonna keep arching? What a nice stretch.
You're no longer looking up, you're looking behind.
You're looking behind,
Right.
right? And like you don't know. You don't know.
As a kid, yeah, you have no idea.
You have
what's
no
going on.
idea. It's still hard to actually be in that position for me now and be like, no, conceptually understand where you're actually looking. And so it makes sense. You think, but that keeps me up. Yes, in a cheaty way, and puts your body in the exact wrong position to
Right.
do correct work and move you through the water. So yeah, I know it's easier, quote unquote, to do that. And so I'll put people on land. And I'm like, okay. And I just tell them to lie down on a mat. I'm like, that's pretty much your backstroke posture right now, right? And they all go, yeah.
Yeah.
I go, great. Let's make it
Completely
somewhere.
passive. I just lay here.
You just lay here, right? Yeah, that's it. Got it. Beautiful.
That's really funny, actually.
It's so much fun. But I do the same thing on land. I just don't. I want it to be like, I know you're doing nothing. I need you to feel that this is work. I want it to feel difficult. And then I love sometimes if it's like a little kid, they can't get both of their legs off the ground, like even an inch.
Yeah.
I'm like, wasn't that so hard? Okay. Gonna be so easier in the pool. There's no gravity. Like
Just less.
I know. I like to say none.
They're one thing.
And then sometimes I'll think about what I said and I go, I have absolutely no idea. I'm sure there's something in here. I'm not a scientist. But anyway.
So instead of putting them on the ground, I started to put them on the wall and show them that they have a hard time even putting their back flat against the wall.
Oh, that's
And
interesting.
then I let them slide their feet out away from the wall so they can start to go, oh, my feet are actually in front of my pelvis. I can do it. If my feet are in line or behind my pelvis, I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so then it helps them understand that when they're kicking in backstroke, they actually have to be kicking higher than their nose would be.
Mm-hmm.
And then they could get into I would say, a pretty good sort of flat back position.
I was even going to say, because the
To
whole
use
idea,
their low abs.
To use your legs. Go ahead, Ron.
the whole thing, you're talking about how like a lot of kids are taught to arch their back. I think I see that all the time. And what ends up happening
I said what?
when they teach, when a lot of kids learn to backstroke, they figure it out by, oh, let me just get
Arching their back.
They get my back really arched. What I think I see a lot of times is that the kids, they'll do their backstroke moment, and you see that kind of like bobbing up and down, move it in their backstroke. Everyone's, I see it all the time. I'm just like, parents like, why is he doing that? And I'm just like, because he's stuck here the whole time. He has nowhere to get his arm.
So
So
his arm is just going way too deep.
yeah, and it just causes him to arch back even more, and that's what caused that up and down motion. So actually keeping a flat back helps reduce that up and down motion to help kind of keep space.
Yeah, there's that. But I mean, ultimately, my thought was just purely for freestylers because that's what I really focus on is freestyle and open water swimming, right? So it's like we can be super creative and give really intense exercises, but we also kind of be very not that creative. We're like, oh, if you learn how to kick on your back better, you will learn how to be in a better posture for freestyle too.
I don't think that's not that creative. You have to have had the thought. And I'm 36. Swimming's been around for quite a long time. No one had that thought with me. No one had any of the thoughts that I give people about, hey, did you exhale? Maybe we don't exhale the whole time. Things like that. No one
Pro
gave
tip.
me those thoughts. I don't think it's not creative, quote unquote. I think it's just allowing yourself to like put your brain in that spot
Yeah.
and play a little bit and feel the effects of things. That's what I like to do a lot. Isn't it interesting how when you did this,
Yeah.
this happened?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I think good coaching is given the opportunity to find it for yourself and not tell people what it is. You know, like, oh, you will feel this, right? Like, oh,
Yeah.
do this movement or do this breath. What did you feel?
Like, what work did you feel being done? Like,
Right.
what did you do? You
You know-
moved. I know you moved. We can all see that. But what did you do to move in that way? How did you move from point A to point B? How would you explain it to me if I'm just Joe Schmo walking down the street?
Yeah,
Like, right? Like,
I agree.
and if someone can't regurgitate something to me to explain it like that, and I know it's like, explain it so that I could at least attempt to do it correctly, then I think, okay, we don't have enough mental understanding. Ask me some questions. What are we missing? Or one of my favorite things to do recently is, and I feel like I'm sure I've talked about this. I'll never stop talking about it. That like exercise that I definitely did in school. I think I did it in elementary school. Sorry,
Oh,
not very articulative today.
Yeah. Pronunciate that.
Where you have to write the instructions to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And then my teacher had all of the things to make a peanut butter and
Jesus.
jelly sandwich.
Yeah.
And everyone's got read out loud. And it was just like, okay, whoever's sitting behind you will go up with you and do what you've written. And I just love when it's like, the first step is put the peanut butter on the bread. And you go,
Jar on bread.
jar on bread. That's what you told me to do. Right?
Yes.
Not unscrew the lid, get a knife, use the knife, right? Like, I think it's such a good descriptor of having to understand complete movements, but also how your brain just jumps to a conclusion. because not everyone jumps to the same conclusion. Like I loved being like, yeah, but Timmy didn't just put the jar on. You know what I mean? Like Timmy picked up the knife and tried to stick the knife into the unopened jar of peanut butter. That was the funny thing to Timmy. Right. So you don't know.
Right.
And that's why I think it's so interesting when I do one of these for the first time, like tell me to do it. And then I'll demo what they're saying.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, I have to make sure I do exactly what they said. And it can be really funny because sometimes they just try to get through it really quickly. And I'm like, I can't do what you just said because I'm stuck in this position. When are you going to notice that I'm stuck in this position? And I can't do that. Or I've done it, and what in the world am I doing? Look at me, see what this looks like.
You reminded me of a memory that for public speaking in college, we had to do that. Mm-hmm. We had to like come up with some sort of process that we wanted to teach the class. I was teaching the class how to do a photo transfer process.
Okay.
And it was one of the memories that I had about college when I decided I was going to just start coaching after college. That I was like, this is what I actually liked doing. I actually really enjoyed that part of...
What part?
Of giving instruction and like talking to people and then teaching the class something they didn't know. And that was like a really like strong memory for me in choosing to become a coach.
So it wasn't even
went
about
very well. Let's say
a
that.
physical thing.
No, it was
like an exercise. That's what I mean by physical.
Right. But it was just interesting that you brought that up. It's like, oh yeah, that is actually an exercise that we had to do. And it was an exercise that helped me recognize this is something that I like doing. I like breaking this down. I like getting people to think about something differently or showing me how they think about something differently.
I love finding out where people's brains go when I say something. I think it's fascinating.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
And I know I've talked about that many a time on here, but I still think it's so fast. I'll never stop thinking that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Because I'll always meet someone new who thought of something that I've never thought of before, never heard, and go, what in the world led you there? Yeah. And then I really want to know, because if I can better understand your brain, I can better coach you. I can better mold to ways that you're going to understand or want to understand to get you to your goal better.
Pro tip for anyone who's in a public speaking class, always be the first to present. Always.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You never want to go last.
You always want to set the tone.
Set the tone.
Because even if you're terrible, there was no one before you who was great.
You didn't. Yep.
No, fair.
And they'll still probably think back that you were good.
Yeah, because you set the tone.
Not amazing.
You stood up first
good.
and you were like, let's do it.
Dominic went first. It was okay. And then all these people. And then did you see that got crumble in the middle? And then, Patricia really swept him under the rug. I don't want to go back after Patricia.
Pro tip. That's my pro tip for public speaking. Go first. Always be the first to present.
I'm from America. I took one in college. And I was like, did I?
A public speaking class?
Yeah, I had to.
Why'd you have to?
We had to in college.
It was forced you. It's an elective class. You have to take it.
Yeah, we had to
I
take
didn't have
ours.
to take public speaking.
You know, our college has set us up for success. So
I'm pretty successful.
Yeah, I was more successful.
Listen, my economics degree is really making me a good swim coach. I don't know about you, but no, I think I don't know.
All right, so I've made mistakes since we've been back from the Bahamas, as I've already pointed out. And one of the mistakes I've made is setting a meeting right after this podcast, too close to this podcast. So we're going to have to wrap this up so I can get out of here.
Not even just a meeting. A meeting you have to drive over an hour to get to.
I know. Any thoughts, Ryan? You've been very quiet.
Yeah, you have been.
Are you I know you're tired.
I'm trying to wake up. Yeah, my brain's still processing.
We're done. Now you're awake.
Anything that you were like, oh, that's a really cool thing to think about for my swimmers, or
nope,
something you're focused on as a coach?
I think Melissa's point about like just trying to be more aware of how people's brains reach certain conclusions and stuff when it comes to when they're figuring out swimming on their own. It just kind of just makes me, I guess it's interesting how certain athletes become more successful than others, right? Because everyone it's kind of luck of the draw of how you end up processing the information. Because some people, all they ever had was club coaches, and they became amazing swimmers, right?
Right.
And then we get a lot of swimmers who are just like, I have no idea what my club coach is saying. No one's helping me. That's why I'm here.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I just find it interesting how like we can be that supplementary thing that kind of bridges the gap almost in their understanding of swimming and movement in general. And that helps in
Like movement translators.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's just athlete stuff. Hopefully that all makes sense.
I think it makes sense.
Hopefully.
What I think is interesting is that like when we talk too, we're like, ooh, interesting. And then like we think about it in this like right now.
Right.
And you were like earlier, like you guys are really quiet. I'm like, I know. I'm thinking too much. I shouldn't be thinking about this right now.
I think the thing to walk away with is hopefully this all makes sense, because that's where I'm at today. So on that note, we're out.